Hello, and welcome to Tank Talk, the only podcast dedicated to the global bulk liquid storage industry and brought to you by Tank Storage Magazine. I'm your host, Anamika, and today we're speaking to LBC Tank Terminals Group Corporate Social Responsibility Director, Tom van Hoyland. Tom is going to be speaking to us about LBC's commitment to sustainability in an ever-changing world, including how they're supporting leading industry event Stock Expo 2026. So let's dive in. So Tom, thank you very much for joining me. We're talking today about LBC Tank Terminals and your sustainability initiatives and kind of how LBC works for sustainable storage. So for you, how does LBC see sustainability as part of your wider business strategy?
Yeah, so sustainability with us is it's part of the core strategy. Yeah? So if you look at LBC, we state we want to be your connected partner for sustainable storage solutions. And if you look at our strategy, we want to develop the connected partnership through best-in-class safety, sustainability, service, and efficiency. And as you see, the sustainability is really part of that strategy. If you look at tank storage industries, a tank that is built is there for decades. So it's something that needs to be sustainable for the long term. That's why I think sustainability needs to be at the core and not something at the side and look at it once in a while. No, it really needs to be at the core of the strategy. Yeah, if you want to be a connected partnership in our industry, at this moment, a tank storage business is really central in the supply chain. And so we're part of the supply chain and we're part of the supply chain of our customers. We're part of the supply chain of our end users. We store fuels, we store chemicals, intermediate liquids, and these businesses are changing. It's changing fast. And we need to be very agile in it. So we need to have a sustainable storage solution to be able to shift to the needs of the customer and also the needs of our end users.
You've talked a lot there about being adaptable as well and sort of being able to be flexible with your customers. So in practice, what does sustainability and being a connected partner look like for LBC?
If you look at a tank terminal, and so we have different tanks, and we start with one map with a puzzle, and we serve the customer's needs, and we get new customers, we get new products, we get new services that we need to add, and it's all the puzzle is moving constantly actually, and to be able to serve the customer sustainable, that we look at three angles. So it's first of all it's supporting the customers' needs in the energy transition and the chemical transition. So supporting them in which storage facility do they need, and the ideas of the tanks that we build, we want to reduce the negative impact, the negative footprint of our own operations. And then we want to, of course, be a responsible neighbor and a responsible employee. Yes? And if we focus on those, I think being the first one, we want to be the connected partner. So we want to have the supporting infrastructure for the energy transition or the chemical transition that they need. And I think then first we start with providing a safe and a future-ready storage. And I think that's the basic, having a safe and future-ready storage, and then helping the customer scale up maybe or test their emerging products, being able to help them position themselves in the market, being part of their supply chain. I think that's the first pillar that we look at. And then, of course, once we achieve that, we look at, okay, how can we reduce our footprint of our own operations? How can we make a positive impact of our own operations? And then we focus on energy efficiency, on emission awareness and reduction, the smarter use of existing assets, digitalization for better monitoring, and I think of planning decarbonization on the long term, depending also on where are you stated in that about. So that's more the operational excellence part. And then I think, yeah, being a responsible neighbor or being part of the community, I think that's also very important. So it's not only safety inside the terminal, it's also safety beyond the fence line, as they say, being transparent in our communication, listen to our employees, listen to our communities, and yeah, it's long-term stakeholder management. That's important.
Yeah.
So I think that are the three pillars if you look at it in that amount.
And you've mentioned a couple of times the positive impact strategy. What do you mean by that?
I think you need to know what is your impact. So that's the first thing is understanding the impact that we have as a company on the environment, on the community, people, profit, planet, being able to look, okay, what impact do we have on all those stakeholders, and then decide how are we going to amplify that impact positively and how are we going to reduce the negative impact. It's not something that is very easy to do, I think, but it goes hand in hand with our culture, and I think it first starts with a safety first mindset. I think safety is the absolute priority, as I mentioned. In our culture, in our LBC culture, safety is our number one priority. And I think we're working very hard to look at, as I mentioned, the safety from our own workforce, the safety of our assets, and also the safety beyond our fence line. And then, you come at the operational excellence part, and that's really something we invest very hard in. Operational excellence is actually one of the most sustainable pillars we in our business need to have. So you have safety, we have operational excellence, and also the long-term thinking aspects you need to have. As I told, if we have a tank storage terminal we built for decades, the tank is built there for 50 years. So our impact that we have on society is for long-term partnership. Of course, what we did on the positive impact strategies, we did a stakeholder analysis. So we asked, I think, more than 70 internal and external stakeholders on, okay, which material topics do you think, or which impact do you think LBC has on the environment, on the people, and also governance-wise. And there you have your double materiality assessment, and there you have the material topics that our internal and external stakeholders say that LBC has on those parts. And then we filtered out this is the impact that we have positively or negatively, and we looked at all those impacts, and then we said, okay, then we're going to make ambitions being no harm to the environment, no harm to our own workforce. We have 9 of those, and then we connect a positive impact strategy to that ambition, so that we look at the long term and we say 2035 or 2050. Okay, this strategy is supporting this ambition, and we want to have a positive impact in the near future, 2035 or 2050. So that strategy, of course, is a very big process, and it's something that we do all together. But that's the focus that we have to make a sustainable storage solution.
So when we talk about sustainability, and then you're talking about safety and operational excellence, how does that all connect in sort of a tank terminal?
Yeah, I think one example that I can give is we start with a tank terminal, and you have different kind of tanks. And once you build your tank terminal for the first time, you look at the perfect layout. You look at where can I store which products, and how can I make it efficient, how can I make it the best tank storage phase one in the beginning. But then, of course, in those lead times 10, 20 years. You have change of customers, you have change of product portfolio, you have so much changes that the puzzle is always moving and always being, it's a changing industry. So you need to
It's
be
like
very
a Rubik's
agile.
cube.
Yeah, it's like a Rubik's cube. And every time, it changes. And you need to be agile, and you need to be meaningful and relevant also for your stakeholders. So it's sometimes very good to stand still and look at the broader picture again and see, okay, we had a first idea, and now where are we at? And then if you look at sustainability, you can do a one-off exercise of like, yeah, we want to be more energy efficient, and that's it. But we really looked at again at operational excellence at a broader picture, as we really looked, okay, now we have this setup of our customers, how can we rearrange? So how can we line up pumps better? Which pumps can we use at this moment better for which customers? Where can we introduce more insulation so that we are more heat efficient? And so if we look at operational excellence at a broader picture, at the broader operations that the terminal that we have for now, we can make it again a sustainable terminal. So that's, for example, an action that we did in an operational excellence program, that we looked at the total picture, and we really looked at how can we realign, how can we look at the total picture of the terminal at this moment as is, and also make it a more efficient and energy efficient terminal.
LBC is also the sustainability sponsor at Stock Expo for 2026. So that's a big step as well. I mean, how do you decide as a business which initiatives to prioritize and what you want to invest in?
It's not something that goes over one day of ice, of course, because our industry is something, if we build something for a long term, and it's very cost intensive. So a tank costs a lot of money. So it's not something that we can play around with. So some businesses can do very small investments but if we do an adjustment to something, it's cost intensive, and it also needs to be there for a long run. So we really need to look at it from a lens on how can it impact the business on the long run. And that's, I think, how we look at it. We look at how can it positively impact our business, how can it help our customer, and how can it beneficially help the future of storing or the transition into a positive.
How will sustainability shape the future of LBC?
I think, like I said, the first investment decisions. So where we want to grow, how can we upgrade our assets, and which opportunities do we purchase? That's, I think, the first one. And then the design of our assets, of course. So we need to be flexible. The tank configuration, like I said, we're going to emerge into new systems. I think new technology. And a more digital future, and I think we need to be able to transition into more low carbon engineering, into more digital solutions, and also more alternative solutions, that leads to infrastructural designing. But also that leads to, I think, different skill and talent attraction. So we have new technologies, new stuff emerging, and we need to be agile on that. But that also leads on, I think, one of the most important aspects of tank storage business is learning and development. So I think if we first look at the legacy terminal, how can we do the training of our personnel, keep the knowledge in the terminal, keep everyone trained. That's the first of. But then, of course, the new technology that is emerging, how can we train our employees on those new technologies, which is a very important thing, of course, because if we work with other kinds of chemicals. They have, of course, risks related to that. There are other technologies related to that. So really training of your existing personnel is a key thing to do. It's also, of course, talent attraction, because you will need new talent to be able to work with new technologies or help us in emerging in those new technologies. So I think that's also a very important thing that we need to look at. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that workforce challenges is a really big issue for a lot of terminals in our industry. I mean, the way I see it as a millennial, the more that we talk about actually how sustainable this industry is and how important it is as well to the wider general public, we actually might then attract more talent. Because, you know, I was one of those people. I had no idea this industry existed until about 3 years ago.
And I think it's a very important industry, and I think it's a little bit underrated industry. So if I came from school, I wasn't thinking of joining the tank industry. I was like, I want to be in a production site. I am a chemical engineer, so you have big dreams, but actually, if you see the part where you're, the impact that you make as a tank storage, that's very nice. It's also a very challenging industry. And the nice thing is you also have the engineering part. You also have the connecting part with the customers. You have so much impact in society. I really like it. So it's a nice industry to work in. If you look at the diverse workforce that we have, and people of joining our industry that didn't have any experience, they always are very positive of the change, and they're always very happy. If you talk to them after a year of hey, how is it working with LBC? It's a new industry for you. It's something new. You wanted to do something new in your life. How is it working for you? They're always positive, being like, they're happy with the impact that they can give. They're happy with the impact they have on the customers, our own workforce, and it's all working together with a common goal, to serve our customer and to bring, to connect everyone. Actually, I think that's something very nice, so that we can work around that together.
Yeah. And I suppose over the next sort of, 5, 10, 50 years, the products that you're storing are going to change quite a lot as well. In line
they're
with,
changing already now. Yeah. And we need to, and that's the challenge, of course. We build something and it's 50 years that it's there, and you build something for the long run. But all the assets related to it, and all the management related to it, and all the operational excellence around it, that's something that shifts, and you need to really be agile. And sometimes a customer comes with really a challenge, and they just want one tank, but it's something that is necessary to make the next step in the energy transition. Or I really believe in small steps as a CSR, or in our business, we really sometimes need to look at small steps. Why? I don't believe in, if we wait for the big change to happen, it will never happen. We really need to work together and look at micro scaling. And for example, if you look at the new energy transition we're working in, and we can all wait until we have one pipeline with hydrogen feeding all the tank storage terminals, feeding all the industries. But if we want to wait for that one big pipeline feeding them at all, it's not realistic. So we really need to look at how can we work together in the location that we have, microeconomy, and look at, okay, which partners do we have next to it, which companies do we have next to it, which community do we have next to us, and then really start with, okay, building it small, working together, connecting, and scaling it up, and then scaling and working towards a bigger future. And I think that's the thing. That's how we need to look at tank storage industries also. And so we need to serve the small customer who wants to transition towards another way of working, or another fuel, or another chemical, and yeah, being able to serve that customer helps in the bigger picture eventually of making a big impact in the transition of the world eventually.
And it sounds like LBC is already working on quite a few of those little micro steps then, right?
Yeah. And that makes it very fun, because it's something new. You learn new things, and you can work together on the bigger picture, and that's nice. I really like that that we can work on that bigger picture together. And not need to wait for someone else to invent it, or.
Are you able to share any examples of like small micro steps or things that you've done for customers?
If you take an example, liquid to plastics. A customer wants to build a small factory where he can gather waste and make that waste into new fuels. Being able to work together with that company to have a small scale setup, and being a connected partner, so that we can help them facilitate that. That's an example of something that we do on a small scale. You can wait for the big company to be there and take all the waste and transform it into other e-fuels. But if you need to work together with those small companies, those small entrepreneurs that really want to change and make impact, and if you work together with them, you start small, but the business grows, other opportunity comes, and that's how you scale up, and that's how you transition and help change the world. That's something that we are doing at this moment. We're also looking at the bigger picture. That's not a secret. We're in Vlissingen. We now have a big greenfield, and we're really building the terminal of the future. We're building a big ammonia terminal with a hydrogen cracker, and being prepared for the future. And we really want to be there, and we really want to have that asset that serves the needs of Europe and further all the people living there. So helping that energy transition, we also look at the bigger picture. So that's, we want to be that strategic partner that is located at that strategic place that can serve, and we can help them with all our knowledge and all our assets in that supply chain.
So it really all does come back to sustainability as part of your business strategy, whether it's small steps, big steps, but sustainability is at the core of what LBC is doing right now.
The thing I really think it's important, and it's really underrated, is like we already talked about, is those the people itself. So if you want to have a sustainable business, you're not gonna do it alone. You're not gonna do it with automation alone. So building an automated plant and going for an automated future, that's very nice, and I believe we're going to go to do that. But if something happens, then it all comes back to the human hands, and all comes back to the human brains, and all comes back to the basic of is that employee safe, trained, and able to work in that condition. And I think the training and development of employees and the talent attractions, like we talked about, I think that's something for now, but also for the future, the biggest challenge in this industry. Like for example, if we look at Vlissingen, where we're gonna expand. The big terminal that we want to place, you need to have a lot of employees and a lot of knowledge to operate that terminal. But if you see where we're located and you see at the community around it, we cannot all get that from that community, because we need a lot of hands, we need different kinds of competences, and that's not all in one village, able to get it from one village. So talent attraction and good employee training, and being able to train an employee in multiple tasks and competences, that training program, I think it's the focus we need to have to gain traction towards the future. And I think that's really underrated. And we need to look at how can we transition our employees towards that future, and take them by the hand and let them experience that ride on a positive note. Change is always the hardest part in a human. And something new is there, and it's a new system, and it's a new technology. And if you don't know how it works, you get uncertain. You don't feel pleasure in your job, and it's a waterfall of everything. So training and yeah.
What do you think other terminals could learn from LBC and your focus on sustainability?
It all comes back to the core. I think if it starts with the people you work with, safety, service, and efficiency. And I think if you look at those three pillars, the safety and sustainability, service and efficiency, if you look at those three pillars and you get your basic right, you get those three pillars in order and up and running, then you will see that the spiral keeps on turning, and you will then the motor will get working. I think then everything falls together. And if one of those three pillars isn't in the right shape or isn't in the right balance, the company won't grow that good. So I think the thing that it's learning it's a big term, but I think if we all could look at the basics and get your basics together and get it good, then you can grow as a company and be a more sustainable company at the long term. So it's all, I think it's all get the basic right, get those three pillars right, and then get everyone aboard on that.
Thank you very much, Tom.
No, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Tank Talk. We'll be back soon with more insights, analysis, and exclusives from the global tank storage industry. Subscribe at www.tankstorage.com for instant access to our magazine, and follow us on social media for updates. Stock Expo will be taking place at the Rotterdam Ahoy on 10th and 11th of March 2026, and the link to register is in the show notes. Do come and say hello to the Tank Storage Magazine team at stand J34. And don't forget to like and share the podcast, and we'll see you next time.